Well, first, Dan, I want to thank you for joining us here. Some of the things we want to talk about, we'll start with the GOP presidential race. Right now, Newt Gingrich is surging in the polls. Romney seems to be losing traction. Between the two, do you feel that one is more of a true fiscal conservative than the other?
That's hard to say. Newt Gingrich does have the 1994 period, the contract with America, and for several years after that, government spending was fairly tightly constrained, which ultimately led to balanced budgets, and we did get tax cuts in 1997. So unquestionably, there was a good period during that time. Now, on the other hand, Newt has endorsed various government expansions in the past. He has explicitly said that he's not a small government libertarian type conservative. He's more in the Alexander Hamilton national greatness conservatism strain. But Romney, as governor of Massachusetts, didn't exactly have a strong record. Now, if I was a Romney partisan, I would say he was dealing with an overwhelmingly Democratic state, an overwhelmingly Democratic state legislature, and he did the best he could.
There's been some talk, especially in the last couple of days, that there might be somebody else emerging, somebody else jumping into the race. Do you see that as a possibility?
There does seem to be a lot of hunger among the average small government-oriented Republican primary voter. They flirted with Bachmann, they flirted with Perry, they flirted with Kaine, now they're flirting with Gingrich. None of them have really warmed up to Romney, and so let's say by some inexplicable set of circumstances, someone like Rubio or Ryan jumped in the race. I would not be surprised to see, if that happened, that kind of candidate suddenly vault up to the top of the rankings.
Who would be the ideal candidate if somebody were to jump in the race?
I think what we need as a country is somebody who is willing to push through the types of reforms in the Ryan budget. Now, maybe that means I'm a Ryan partisan, but certainly Rubio has embraced those reforms. I'm sure Governor Christie of New Jersey might embrace those reforms. We desperately need those reforms to save America from becoming like Greece. I think it's because Romney doesn't give them a message that he genuinely wants to shrink government. Romney, whether this is true or not, this could be completely unfair, but he comes across as a technocratic manager. He wants to become president just so he can be president. They want a Republican who actually will be more like Reagan and not in that sort of Nixon-Bush big government Republican mold.
Well, let's shift our discussion now to the debate going on in Washington about the payroll tax holiday.
The payroll tax holiday, because it is just a holiday, it's a temporary tax cut. And temporary tax cuts, unless you happen to believe in the fairy tale of Keynesian economics, temporary tax cuts don't help the economy in any significant way because businesses, entrepreneurs, investors, workers don't make long-term decisions on the basis of temporary tax gimmicks.
You recently said that the failure of the supercommittee was a good thing, but you also wrote that, quote, sadly, there is no way for such a truly, I'm paraphrasing this, fiscally conservative budget to be enacted in 2011 or 2012, and it may not happen in the 4 years after that. And every year it does not happen, we get closer to a European-style fiscal crisis.
Every year we delay is every year we get closer to our own Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Greek moment where all of a sudden investors decide we just don't trust the U.S. government anymore, so we're not going to lend them money. Do I think we're going to get back to the right kind of policy in the next couple of years? I worry.
All right. Well, Dan Mitchell, a senior fellow with the Cato Institute, an expert on tax reform and supply-side economics. Dan, I want to thank you very much for joining us on Newsmax today.
Well, thank you.